Welcome back. I'm D Chan with S.S.D.K Music. So glad you stopped by the channel. And since you're here, why don't you go ahead and like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. All right, now let's jump over to tip number 4. And in this tip, we're dealing with sweetening. Sweetening, adding some sprinkles of goodness all through the track. Okay, so basically sweetening is dealing with your reverb and your delay. So let's jump over to our mixer view, or what they would call session view in Ableton, and we have an example of sweetening going on in this vocal chop here. And basically we have a synth setup that has some reverb on it, and I don't want to get into like different types of reverb because it's really like I always want to say, these particular things are subjective. You know, I like to use the stock reverb in Ableton a lot of time, but I do have other reverbs that do have other capabilities that fit certain situations. But for the intents purposes of this particular conversation, excuse me, we want to just think about, or just have a concept of, when you're in the different stages of mixing, you want to think about different things. A lot of times your instruments will already have reverb on them, so it almost kind of writes itself in there. Sometimes it might be too much. You might have to dial it down in that particular plugin. But when you get to the mixing stage, you want to start looking at using reverb to help push things to the back a lot of times, or give it a certain space or feel. So on this particular track here, we have A, which is Syn A, which is our reverb. We have this particular vocal chop that's going to that reverb, and it was kind of dry, so I had to put some reverb on it. So let's see if we can get that one. So now you hear it. Let me turn it off. It sounds dry. Like the chop is dry. But when you throw the reverb on it, it gives it more space. So in the context of the song, there you go. So there you go. That's what you're dealing with, reverb right there. And delays, basically, sometimes it can also be used as a form of reverb. So a lot of times you hear like the tap back on the snare. Let's jump over to a snare real quick. Here's snare 1. We throw some delay on it like that. We solo that snare. All those double taps, that's dealing with your delay. And that's annoying to have it go like, but if you dial it back just right, it'll fit good in the mix. So it's really subjective. For somebody that might sound good. That might be their thing, or they're looking for a certain effect for that snare to do that. So it's really subjective on that person's, what they want to hear, or what they want to convey, or how the story's being told from their perspective. Alright? That is tip number 4, sweetening, adding reverb and delay.